Hello, dear Instagram. I hope you guys are all very, very well. I'm really, really excited to be back doing these in conversations with Radhika. And today is a wonderful guest that's joining us. It's our wonderful Madhva from Spain. As you're joining this conversation, do let me know where you're joining from. It's wonderful to see you, Caps. Thank you so much for joining. That Spud Guy Ed, hope you're well. Thank you so much. Flying Frenzy, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Really appreciate you all taking time to be with us. This is going to be a fantastic conversation, and it's going to be with my good friend Madhva from Spain. As you guys are tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from. And today our topic is around humility and genuine humility as opposed to fake humility. So I'm going to add Madhva into the conversation now. Maybe you have some questions that come to mind when it comes to humility. Let me know.
Hello?
Hey, brother, how's it going?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, good. I can see a white background right now. Is it because the camera is flipped the right way?
Ooh, is that good? I mean,
Oh, there we go.
okay, hold on. Okay, yeah. There we go.
We got you.
Yeah,
Going good, man. How are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm a little tired.
Oh, yeah.
I woke up early today, and it's an hour later here in Spain. It's 9 p.m.
Right.
Hey, Mom.
Hello, mum. We're having some wonderful people joining. Vast Project from New York City, Let's See Yoga, Cases of National.
Very.
Thank you guys all so much. Hermione Powell, thank you so much for joining. Petros, hope you're well.
Beautiful people.
Yeah, beautiful people. I'm actually liking the beard. Looks good.
Yeah, the beard is not too bad. I like the beard more or less.
Yeah,
it's the
more
hair.
or less.
It's the hair.
I mean, if I were there, I'd trim it off for you if you want, but I'm not there.
I'm thinking about doing the same thing, bro. I'm not humble enough.
It's not going straight into our topic. Yeah, it was super liberating, to be honest. Just, I don't have to think about it anymore. It was becoming one of those things where I was just like, oh, it's getting too long. I wish I could just get rid of it. And then I did it, and it's liberating, trust me.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm waiting for the barber still.
Wait, okay. Be patient. See if it works out for you, mate. I'm super excited today, guys, because we're going to be speaking about a topic which I think is going to create a lot of thought. I think it's a topic which people shy away from because it's so easy to fake it to make it, in one sense. Fake being humble. And I think, maybe I'm speaking for myself. Do you think it's easy to fake being humble? What do you think, mate?
Well, there's different ways. That's one part of false humility, is just pretending to be humble. But I mean, you can do that to make people think you're humble, but a lot of the time, that's not the reason behind why people are doing that, in my opinion.
Why do you think people are doing it then?
I mean, maybe we've had different experiences. I speak from my own experience.
Please, yeah.
And for me, oftentimes humility is coming actually from a place of low self-esteem. So we put ourselves down. We're like, we act or talk as if we're so low. We're so, oh, please. Okay. So also, if anyone's watching this who's not familiar with or like part of a spiritual community, then this might sound a little alien to you, but
yeah.
Often within spiritual communities, and it's definitely true in our community, we hear a lot of this stuff like, oh, please, you're so great, and I'm so small, I'm so fallen, and, or someone will compliment you,
right?
And rather than take the compliment and appreciate it, and send it to the appropriate place. We'll talk about that. We'll get to that, but you're like, oh no, we both do kirtan. So someone will come up to us after kirtan. Oh, Prabhu, oh, wow, that was so amazing. You're incredible. Oh, no, I'm nothing.
Right.
I'm nothing.
Right.
So often these kind of comments, they come from a place of low self-esteem, actually.
Totally.
They come from that place, and it's good to know that, at least to start. You've got to be aware of the problem, and it's not always that. And I think that's one of the things that perhaps we'll talk about. Something I was thinking today about humility. Humility is not your external activities. Humility is your internal activities. So you may be saying those words. For example, someone may say those words. Don't worry. No, it's not me. Actually, I'm lowly fallen person. And for them, maybe it's coming from the right place. So it's not the external activities. It's not the words we say necessarily that indicates humility. And that's a personal thing. You've got to look at yourself deeply and think, where are my actions coming from?
Totally.
Why am I saying these things? Am I saying these things because I'm humble? I mean, I never said those things because I was humble. Actually, the funny thing is, low self-esteem is the flip side of pride.
Interesting.
Pride is where we're overestimating our own abilities, but it's about us. It's about us. We're the center of our pride.
Yeah.
We're still the center of our low self-esteem. It's all about me, but I'm so crap. It's the other side.
Yeah, so true.
It's the other side of the story. It's they're both kind of unhealthy, but to have low self-esteem is perhaps more painful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to understand it So, I mean, you've shared a little bit about humility being, or fake humility being a lack of self-esteem or low self-esteem, as you put it. And you also mentioned about, this point of reacting with authenticity when people do give you credit for something that you've done. Now, the question I'm trying to dissect it in my mind while you're speaking is, I know people who, in my mind, I consider quote unquote humble. And you mentioned that humility is an internal thing, not an external thing. Does that mean, look, because I think that it's very clear that people tend to.
Discussion, by the way, I'd love to hear your question and talk about it, but I just want to put it out there. I'm not. I am humble. Therefore, I can tell you all about humility. It's a discussion, but I'd love to hear your question.
It gets us kind of into
I'm an expert on humility, by the way. Just
say that again.
I'm an expert on humility.
Oh wow. So am I, to be honest.
I don't tell people that normally because I'm so humble. Anyway.
So, this point of humility being an internal thing, not an external thing. But people flock to people who externally look humble and meek and kind of shy and not someone that's with words. That seems to be the universal go-to when it comes to identifying humility. Like, for example, I'm quite a talkative person. I'm quite a passionate person. And I think you're pretty much the same. Like, you like to have a good chat. You like to be someone who socializes, etc. So in that definition, just from the external point of view, that's not humility. But why is it that so many people think that someone who's meek and quiet and, someone that doesn't look for the attention, why is that person more likely to be considered humble, do you think?
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, maybe it's a misunderstanding of what humility is. What I really wanted to talk about, sorry, go on.
Yeah, because I'm just looking from the perspective that, is it a case that there is truth to that as well? Like, being someone who's meek and quiet and shy, are those not like characteristics of someone that's humble? Because, do you see what I'm saying?
So, I guess here's my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
My thoughts on that is that they may well be humble people. Yeah, and it's the thing about humility is that it's a personal thing,
right?
And as soon as it's connected to judgment. So the key is to be looking at yourself. Now, if you're looking at other people, if someone else is looking at you, looking at your loud personality and saying, That guy ain't humble, man. Look at him. He's a chatters. He's a pretender.
Yeah.
You know what? That person making that judgment in that moment is not behaving with humility.
Right.
And it's interesting and it's funny. They probably have low self-esteem because low self-esteem, in my experience, I speak from my own experience, it leads to judgment. And humility and judgment really can't be present where there is genuine humility. Where you see yourself, you don't expect respect for yourself, but you give respect, all respect to others. There's that beautiful verse from the Shikshastakam, Trinada Pisu Nichena Taroda Pisu Hishnuna Manida Manadena Kirtanyas Dahari. And it says that, you know, we don't expect any respect for ourselves, but we offer all respect to others.
Right.
So that's humility. So again, sorry, a bit of a your point is that these people, maybe they are humble, but that's for them to know. That's for them to know. Where is their intention coming from? And the fact that you're loud, that's only you can know that. I can't say, I think you're a very humble person, if I'm honest. I really appreciate what you do. I know you personally, so I can, and but ultimately that's for you. Yeah. You got to look in your own heart and say, why am I talking so much right now?
Beautiful.
Or why am I being quiet right now? So
yeah. Humility isn't something that you put on someone like a medal and therefore they earned it. It's something which is not meant for kind of being paraded around. It's kind of defeats the purpose of it, you know, humility itself. And so being in a culture where, especially, I think it's not just the Bhakti yoga community, I think it's all spiritual cultures go through this kind of trauma, or not trauma, that's the wrong word to use, going through this, I don't know what the word is. It's almost like a challenge that everyone has to go through in the spiritual community, especially if you're aiming to be someone who's humble, who's tolerant, who's free of pride, free of envy, free of lust. Then if someone pins it, says, okay, let's give another example, that if someone just gives you the badge and says, you are so free of lust, that doesn't mean in any way, shape or form that you are free from it. You know, no matter how many people say it, no matter how many people parade around glorifying that you're free from this one thing, it's not true. Only you know. And so what you're saying is completely right, that it's only something that we as individuals can know for sure. Like I'm seeing in the comments, and it's so lovely to see, because, you know, people are saying, oh, Madhva, you're so humble. Oh, Radhika, you're one of the most humble people, blah, blah, blah. And I really appreciate that. I really respect that. And I really accept that as kind of the love that they're sharing. But the quality itself is something I'm seriously striving for. And I don't know if I'll ever get it. Like, I don't think in this lifetime I'll be 100% humble. I think there's always going to be an element of ego in there. Beard Brothers, thank you, Yogi. Where do you think we can transform, or how can we deal with it then? If it's something that we have to individually go through, what would you say, in your opinion, is the way in which we move towards humility? We can one day be quote unquote humble, or genuinely humble.
I love this. I love this discussion. It's a good question. I can share my thoughts on it.
Please.
Yeah, how do we actually become humble? Right? That's kind of the theme of your question, because you say people might think we're humble, but we know we're not. Okay, so how do we become humble? Well, I mean, it's the first thing is to want it, right?
Great, yeah.
And I think that's why you were saying, like, typically amongst spiritual communities, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem in the world. Low self-esteem is a problem in the world, but having that link to humility is more typical in spiritual communities, because humility is a desirable quality in spiritual communities. It's talked about a lot in all spiritual communities. It's a desirable quality, and it's preached and it's encouraged. Whereas in the kind of modern, atheistic world, more or less, that we live in, humility is actually perceived as a negative quality.
Yeah.
It's weakness. Yeah. And it's funny because I was in my research preparing for this little chat, I was looking at the dictionary definition, and it doesn't imply some way weakness, inferiority.
Can you believe that? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have it in front of you? Do you have the definition in front of you?
Having a feeling of inferiority, insignificance, subservience, or lowliness. So it's funny because those words can be understood both ways, but in the context of what I was reading on the dictionary, I have another definition which I love, but I want to talk about your question.
Okay, go on.
So the first thing is to be aware of it, which is that's the key. There's some good questions coming here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just gonna try and answer.
We'll
this.
take them at the end, so we'll scroll through.
I'll try and talk through this. Otherwise, I'll get distracted, and then we can come to it. Life will humble you. One thing, is that if we're not trying to practice humility or to learn about humility, life will humble you. But the second thing is there are places which teach us about humility. Right. Is one thing. They teach you what are the qualities, and so you can be aware of what the qualities are. But then my real opinion on this one is association. So you seek out, you look for people who you see that quality in, and you try to spend time with them, because when you spend time with people who are genuinely humble, that inspires you. Yeah. And it shows you what humility actually looks like. Yeah. You might think you're humble, but maybe your behavior is not humble. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Yeah. But when you see true humility in practice, then not only do you learn what humility looks like, and that's where you see that it's not an external activity. For example, Srila Prabhupada, he was our founding teacher of the Bhakti movement around the world. He took this Bhakti yoga philosophy from India to the West, and it's the reason we're all here right now. So, an incredible teacher. His actions were not always meek and weak. Sometimes he was strong and cutting, but he was humble. And so when you see humility, true humility, and you understand it in someone else, that's how you learn about humility. And life will make you humble.
I love these 2 points. One, which is that, if you want to truly be humble, then that does take sometimes being humiliated. That is one thing that kind of came out at me, that, life will teach you to be humble. The second point which you shared, it kind of connected with something that I heard my spiritual teacher, Sachinandan Swami, speak about on Saturday. And he said that if you want to learn how to develop a certain quality, there are 3 things which are required for you to develop that quality. One is the philosophy surrounding it. So really understanding the philosophy of what is real humility, what is real, whatever X that quality is. The second thing he shared was people. So spending time with people that you can discern as through the philosophy, understanding that person has humility, so therefore I want to associate with that person. And the third thing that he said was practice. 3 P's: philosophy, people, and practice. I think the first 2 go without saying, they make sense. And I totally agree with you in regards to, finding people that are humble and therefore associating with them. But the last point, which is around practice of humility, is something where I think we all struggle. And I think it's because the definition is not so clear. And I think it's obviously because the first two steps aren't clearly followed. And therefore, to practice humility becomes difficult, because if you've not understood the philosophy of what real humility is, and secondly, you're not associating with people who are humble, then number 3 kind of blows out the water, because what are you really practicing? It could be something diluted. And so
humility is the trickiest one out of all of them. But sorry, go on.
Yeah. And so, I'm going to just go in with a definition that I feel really works for me, and you can tell me what you think about it. It's something that A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, he gave this definition of humility. One time on a morning walk, a disciple of Bhaktivedanta Swami asked him, what is real humility? And he turns to this disciple and he says, real humility is to understand that nothing will save you in this material world. Not your money, not your name and fame, not your children, not your wife, not even your gun. Nothing will save you in this material world apart from the grace of Krishna, apart from the grace of God. And so truly understanding that I am protected by grace and divinity that's all around me. I am but a eternal spiritual spark of splendor. I'm not God myself. I'm not aiming to be God, but I understand that because of the protection that I'm under, Krishna's protection, God's protection, therefore I don't have low self-esteem. I'm just giving my purport, my understanding of it. Not that I have low esteem, but rather I understand that because I'm under this umbrella and shelter of grace, that is my greatest qualification. That's where I feel, that's understanding what real humility is, understanding one's position almost. What did you have to think about that? Did you have any thoughts on anything that, was shared just now?
I loved it. Yeah, and because I was just briefly looking through some of the comments. There were some nice things. I haven't read them all, by the way, in case I'm not boring people, but I noticed my mum's one. She said,
let's scroll back to it. Where is it? Or maybe you want to read it out.
Yes.
Yeah, I found it.
You got it? What did she say?
Is it the question, what is humility?
My light. To know I am not the doer or enjoyer Krishna is. It ties in, I noticed that one, and it ties in with what you're saying, which is that, and this is what I believe. One of the things that I was also thinking is exactly the same thing as you, is that, and this is where we say, no, I'm so shit. I'm so, I'm so fallen. It's like, no. I mean, in one sense, yes, but actually we have qualification. Our qualification is that we have mercy, and which is, maybe I'm not wording it perfectly, but to me, totally. Exactly what you were saying, which is that, God loves us. That's a massive one. He wants our best. And I completely loved what you said. I think you said it very nicely. Obviously, you were repeating what Prabhupada said, so you can't put it better than that.
Can't go wrong.
You can't put it better than that.
I mean, the next question I wanted to ask you was surrounding how to deal with people who you feel are being, because we spoke about this topic of being fake humble. How to deal with people who you feel are being fakely humble, number one. And number two, if you spot it in yourself, because, Radhika Swami, he says this beautiful quote that if you can recognize a quality in someone else that you think is distasteful, then it's likely you probably got it yourself. So dealing with people who you think are fakely humble, and secondly, how to stop ourselves from being fakely humble. I don't even know if fakely is a word, but I'm using it in this context.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Tough questions, interesting questions. I think there's for me, there's levels. You gotta think about where you at.
Yeah.
And you have to have some little bit of self-awareness to know where you're at. And then you may not be perfect. You may not be able to respond perfectly. So maybe for you, your perfect response for where you're at is, you need to maybe distance yourself from that person for a while. If that person is hurting you, if those interactions are hurting you, then you should be distancing yourself from that. Don't open yourself up to that, because it's not healthy for you, nor is it healthy for them if someone else is also basically mistreating you through this false humility, like, pretending, playing a bit duplicitous. Then it's not good for them. Yeah. Not good for you. So, and you don't have to necessarily, depends on it really depends on the situation as well.
It's completely get that. But is there a way?
You may want to say something to them. You may not want to say something to them.
Yeah.
Ideally, we don't want to be rude to them. We don't want to try and hurt them back. And that's what's hard. The easy thing to do is we want to cut them back. Maybe, yo, you burnt me. I'm gonna burn you straight. I'm gonna burn you double, baby. Seriously, that's how we feel. That's what we want to do. Like that's serious. That's what I want to do. I don't know about the other 30 people watching, but that's what I want to do.
Right.
If someone burns me in some way, whatever way it is, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna think hard and I'm gonna double burn that person. So that's something we don't want to do.
Right.
Because that's two wrongs don't make a right. Okay.
Totally.
But the last thing I would say, I think the ideal thing here, which is again another quality we can talk about, but it's forgiveness.
Yes. Yeah.
Forgiveness.
I mean, the first point you made about, respectful distance, I think is really important, because all too often we hear about, when it comes to not feeling someone is being really humble and faking it and whatever, or whatever the quality is that you just don't like about that person, for whatever reason you think that person is a jackass, then the kind of the modern day way of dealing with it has always been express yourself, communicate about it, sit down together and try and hash it. But sometimes the best thing you can do is respectful distance. It may actually hurt to move away from the situation and not respond. Like, I've been in a situation, and we've spoken about this personally, where there's someone in my life who really kind of hurt me and, criticized everything that I was doing. And it was quite painful. And so the immediate thing to do for me was to go back at that person and to really try and try and basically allow myself to live in that passionate moment. But the best thing I found was respectful distance, because it helped me to just get in a headspace where I wasn't just trying to hurt the other person, but rather reflect on what actually was going on, because there must have been truth to, what some of the stuff that you were saying. There's always going to be truth there. And, when it comes to humility, I think one of the key principles with humility is knowing when to speak, what to speak, and how to speak. And by that, I mean, someone who's humble, in my opinion, from my understanding of someone who's taking shelter of divinity, that someone is conscious of God everywhere. And therefore, when he's even speaking, he or she or whoever is speaking, they also have a quality of speech. They have a quality of knowing, is this thing true or not true? Is this thing going to be good for the person, pleasing for the person to hear? And is this the right time for me to speak right now? And so even when it comes to speech, quality of speech, humility comes through, that, someone who's truly humble should know, ideally, when, what, and how to speak.
Yeah.
But I agree with the respectful distance is what I'm saying as well. I think that's valid as well.
Right. I'd like to touch on one of the things you said,
Please.
Which is that if it's hurting us, possibly there's some truth in it.
Yeah.
Now that's a big one. In fact, that's probably
a new topic.
Yeah, it's maybe the biggest one there, because it's so relevant to us. Why is it hurting so much? Why does it cut me so deep?
Right.
Because we're like, it's, you point one finger, you got three fingers pointing back at yourself. There is something happening in there. And so one thing you could think about doing in that, the respectful distance is perhaps part of it. Well, it's yeah, that's there. Very important. But being introspective enough or humble enough to be aware that maybe there's some truth, and maybe I should worry less about what that person said to me.
Yeah.
And I should worry more about what I need to be doing.
Right.
I would say forgive that person, because that's where forgiveness comes in. Again, it's something that I've also experienced, basically, where I've been burnt by someone and there's been some time apart. And it's not that I've necessarily even done, made conscious efforts to be working on that situation, but I've been making conscious efforts to continue developing
quality
on myself, just in general.
Yeah.
And when that subject comes back up again, within that distant time, I've grown between, and you can come back to that situation with you don't have to have that same like hurt, fire, pain, whatever it is inside you. So, you add that into that distance, you add self-development or a little introspection, a little bit of, okay, which ties back into what you were saying, the 3 Ps, perhaps,
Yeah.
take a bit of distance from that person, bit of the 3 Ps, which were
philosophy, understanding philosophy, the people that you feel imbibe that quality, spending time with them. And the third is practicing that quality. I think one thing that really does, I think, for people become a challenge or an obstacle is forgiveness. Because I think humility also means that you were speaking about just now, forgive others that have hurt you knowingly or unknowingly. A humble person, again, let's go back from the top. Humility, from the definition given by Bhakti Anderson, is someone that takes shelter and refuge in divinity, knows that I am an eternal spirit soul that is taking shelter of God. And therefore, I know my place. I know that I'm not here to become the proprietor, to become the enjoyer, to become God. So we go from that position. We should understand that someone who is humble, by that definition, is also someone who is willing to forgive people on the basis that that person may or may not have intended to hurt you, number one. And the second thing is that in every single interaction, be it painful, burning, whatever, there's going to be some truth. I'm a big fan of this quote that I heard recently. It's that life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. It's something that it's not like random interactions, random people coming into your life, random activities coming and happening. Life happens for you. Every situation is an opportunity for us to grow. Being here in this material world is an opportunity for us to develop ourselves. Like, for example, today, I'm giving myself a shout out here. Listen to my greatness here. So my neighbor, he was cutting the grass in his front lawn, and he was kind of just doing, some tidying up in the front. And I was jet washing all the family cars, just, something for me to do. And I wanted to be outside, etc. And so I saw his car and I thought, he's an elderly man. Let me wash his car. At least it'll be my act of random kindness today, and he'll appreciate it. And then, what turned in, he accepted, and he was like so happy and thankful. But it turned into, while I was washing his car, me being completely self-absorbed in thinking, I'm doing this for him. I'm doing this. This is so amazing. Like, this is me in my full spiritual bliss, like I'm totally a humble and spiritual person right now. And I guess I'm going off on a tangent, but I guess this is something that also for me has become a definition of humility: self-absorption, someone who isn't self-absorbed.
Well, that's where low self-esteem is the flip side of self-absorption.
Right.
Pride is one type of self-absorption, and low self-esteem is another side of self-absorption. So, I mean, yeah, the point is that self-absorption is the point.
Yeah.
I love what you were saying, because you were saying that it's, if we go off Prabhupada's, definition,
yeah,
then that is so apparent.
Yeah.
Sometimes that becomes very apparent. For example, I'm going to give you an example, something that happened to me. Years ago, I went on a lad's holiday to Greece. It was myself and, don't worry, it was a group of spiritual lads. So there was no parties, no nightclubs, no alcohol, none of that stuff. Lots of swimming in the sea and going on. Yeah, anyway. So it was a lad's holiday. And a long story short, I had a near-death experience. I fell. We were staying in the mountains, and the road that our house came off was a mountain road without no barriers, nothing. And we arrived like 11, 12 at night, like close to midnight. It was pitch black. We're on the mountain in the middle of Greece. There's no street lights, no nothing. I'm trying to help my friend reverse park the car. Next thing you know, I've fallen off the side of the cliff, bro.
Oh, I remember you've told me this, but it's just come back to me.
Now I
Oh,
fell,
man.
I was falling for long enough that in my head, I didn't think of God, just so you know. You know what
How
I
big was the
thought?
fall? Sorry, you mentioned how many
It
feet?
was
Approx?
about 7 meters. It's high, man. I'm telling you, it was high. So anyway, while I was falling, it was high enough that I tell you what, in my head, I had enough time to think, when am I going to hit the floor?
Mm.
That's what went through
Mm.
my mind. I was like,
Mm.
shit, I'm still falling.
Ah.
Now, God's grace that I escaped that fall with minimal damage. Like I thought I broke my back actually. When I hit the ground, I was dazed. I was kind of
Was it
not
flat ground
knocked
where you
out.
landed?
Yeah, so where I landed was kind of flat. Next to me was a big rock. Next to me was a sharp tree stump. If I'd have fallen on either of those, down the road, I fell about 7 meters. Down the road, if I'd fallen on another section of the road, it was about a 100 meter drop. If it had happened on
Wow.
another section of road, I'd have been. So the point is, where I fell, even still, I should have broken something. I should have
Right.
broken something.
Right.
It's not died where I fell. Like you don't. It was really genuinely that high. So in that moment, you realize this none of this stuff, it ain't mine. I'm not in control. Actually, it doesn't belong to me. None of this is mine, and it's like it can be taken away from me like that, like that. So it's a misconception that I'm the doer. I'm the one
Mm.
doing it. I'm so good. It's a misconception. You're not. We're not the doers. This is what we have right now is a gift.
Yeah, totally.
And sometimes it becomes apparent, but I tell you what, most of the time,
Yeah.
even 2, 3 days after that, that intense realization, it lifts, it disappears, and we forget. We
Again.
forget that that's our reality, is that
Yeah.
we're not in control, that actually everything is happening by the will of God. They say not a blade of grass moves without the will of God.
No.
So what to speak of ourselves, you know, we're acting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think once a person comes to the realization that, like you said, not even a blade of grass moves without the sanction of divinity, without the sanction of God, then once a person comes to that realization, you can't help but step back from moments like this that happen to us. Like you gave that example of falling down a cliff's edge. But I think every single person that's listening right now, every single person that's going to listen to this right now, or eventually in the future, will have
Yeah.
also gone through a period of high intensity where either you're close to dying, or you've experienced the loss of someone else, or you're intensely sick, diseased, whatever it is, or mentally ill even. And if you can come to the realization sooner rather than later that this was meant to teach me something, not why was this happening to me, not why did that happen, how did the car, and why and how the situation happened, but what was this trying to teach me, and what was Krishna, what was God what message was he giving me at that moment, or what messages, plural, were being communicated to me, then that is the best way to look at situations like this, because you can come out of that with 10 more realizations on life than you would have if you hadn't fallen through that cliff. It would have taken, maybe another year or 2 years or 10 years or even a lifetime to come to the same conclusions that you got through in that 10-second fall. Well, I don't know how long the fall was, but I think all too often we are ready to just blame situations on on the other person, on the other people involved, the situation. But I think going back to that, I'm sorry, I'm going back to that definition of humility, but I think it really does count here, that someone that really sees their shelter as being God, that is humility, understanding one's position as the eternal soul, then we can see every situation in life as a gift. Every single day is a gift from God. And in that way, you'll spend your whole life opening presents. You'll spend your whole life looking for realizations in your life. And I think it's really beautiful. I think sometimes even I forget how beautiful this one human life form I've got. Above and beyond that this human life I've got is within this beautiful Bhakti community full of people who are striving for deepening their relationship to God, understanding their true, true nature. It's such a flipping blessing. Like sometimes I can't quite fathom that blessing. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Reminds me of a quote I saw from wonderful teacher Radhika Swami. Gratitude is the womb for humility. So
Right.
that's what I'm doing. What I'm hearing you say. You're so grateful for so many things. That's a sign of it's the womb for humility. I didn't actually. There was a whole lecture. I didn't listen to it, so I'm gonna just leave it.
Caught the quote. That's a mic drop moment.
I didn't listen to that lecture, and so I'm a little limited. That's where my
it's a total mic drop moment, but it made me look side to side, up and down, because I was like completely stumped that it's so true. Look,
you probably got more from that than I got from it, because it sounded like you were a little bit on that trip there yourself.
Yeah, you know what? It sounds lofty and it sounds totally fairy, airy, fairy, and hippie-like to say be grateful for everything in your life. But if one just takes a moment just to step back, right? Just maturely, just step back from life. Can't you see the blessings in your life? Can you not see divinity in your life? Can't you see Krishna? Like, someone, Kadamba Kanana Swami in the Bhakti movement, in the Hare Krishna movement, he said this beautiful thing. He said, I've given up trying to see Krishna in my life. I've given up trying to see his form in a three-bended, Krishna is described as being three-bended with a flute in his hand, bluish, blackish in color. He said, I've given up trying to see Krishna, but I see Krishna through his hands. I see his hands everywhere in my life. And I want to, and I think that you don't have to be a deep spiritualist to even just comprehend that, to even, just see that, right? Am I just being totally lofty here?
No, I mean, I also, like you, I have the same kind of, we've got the same culture, we've got the same environment, the same friends, the same teachers. So to me, it makes so much sense. I don't know how that sounds actually, maybe from an external ear, but
if you guys are listening and have any questions, drop them in the comments, because we want to hear what you think. Are we being too unjust on what it really is? Is it more difficult than what we're saying?
Yeah, I love that. I think I see it as well. I feel like that's, anyway, gratitude for the blessings that we have. Yeah. Do you mind if I take it on another tangent, or back to the first tangent?
Do it.
Which is false humility and low self-esteem. Because again, this is something I like to talk about, because it's something I've personally suffered with.
Okay. And
it's something that I see a lot. And I was doing a little research, and I found a really nice thing that relates beautifully to this. Actually, they come from outside of our own Bhakti culture and tradition, although I'd like to talk a little bit about some verses from the Gita as well.
Let's do it.
By
the way, if this runs over, Madhva, we're just going to do another live, because I'm super inspired right now. I think we'll just keep this going. So don't worry about time. If it gets to the point where we're like 5-2, we'll just carry on.
All right, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You mean start another one?
Yeah, we'll start another one. Let's do it.
Oh,
yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, cool.
I really want to get to the bottom of this. That's why.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So I came across a Hebrew word. I was watching videos on YouTube. What does humility mean? Why is humility? But I was doing a little research to try and find, because I had my own feelings and thoughts and reflections on this, but I wanted to find a little evidence and, some support and things like that.
Sure.
And so I came across this word. It's a Hebrew word called Anavah. If there's any Christians listening, maybe you can chime in here and share some love. But it's the word that's used throughout the Bible to represent humility. But the
How do you
literal
spell it? A-N-A-V-A-R.
A-N-A-V-A-H. Anavah.
Okay.
Anavah. So it's the word that represents humility generally throughout the Bible. But it literally means to occupy your God-given space.
Now, your God-given space.
Let me show you. I've done a little thing. I'm going to show you my little. Here's my very inadequate note.
Wow.
Actually, maybe it's perfectly adequate. Who knows? So so he gave an example. I watched this video. Some Christian dude who obviously has like he has his own YouTube channel. He's trying to share the love. He's trying to share positivity, Christianity, all of that stuff. I thought it was a great, nice short clip, very well made. So anyway, he shows this to give how does that look like practically to occupy your God-given space. So then he gave us this. So you see, here's the circle is us. Now here's someone trying to be more than they are. Here's someone who's not quite, doesn't take up their full space. They're actually not living to their full potential. This person's trying to be more than their full potential. This person's not being their full potential. And often this is where we find the spiritualists who are misunderstanding humility for low self-esteem. We often sit in this category, I feel, where we're under-repping ourselves. We're not living up to our full potential. We're not living up to our full capacity because we think we're being humble or we're afraid of judgment. Anyway, Anavah, here it is. Occupying your God-given space where we are our complete self, no more, no less. So I thought that was really beautiful. And again, this is individual. It's like we have to look at ourselves. Who are we? Like, this is something I've been doing recently. Like, who am I? Like, even the fact that I'm sitting here doing this Instagram live with you now, for me is a sign of growth, because a few years ago, even though I feel it's in my nature, I like to do this kind of thing. I like to talk about spiritual subject matters. I like to share spiritual subject matters.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not the best in the world at it, but neither am I the worst in the world at it. And that's almost not the point. The point is, what is true to me? That's the point. Wow. What is this really me? Is this what I want to do? And why do I want to do it? So I've had to really look closely at that. And the fact that now I'm sitting here doing it with you, this is a sign of that for me, that it's like years ago, I would have been that middle circle. I'd have been, no, Radhika, please. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm too fallen. I'm too fallen.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy to do this Instagram live session with you. And it's not true. I don't mean that. In my head, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm worthy. That's probably what I was thinking inside. But that low self-esteem, do you see what I'm saying?
I totally feel you. I think I came across this feeling when I came off the back of having shared at university. So we had this beautiful weekly university sessions when I was at University of Leicester. And every week we would share to students, and we get 70 people turn up to each week. And, once it was once at University of Leicester and once at De Montfort University. So both universities I was sharing at, and it was 70, 60 people in each one. So we were reaching about 100, 130 odd people each week. And then I came back to London after I graduated, and I had nothing to do. No one was kind of engaging me in doing anything. And I was convinced at that time that humility would mean just wait until someone approaches and gives you something to do, to offer some service. And I think all too often we identify ourselves in that place where we wait and wait and wait and wait, even though, hand on heart, I knew I had something to offer. There was something there, but I was just too self-absorbed thinking, what will people say? What will people think? What people will judge me? People will laugh at me. It's not just, it's all of us. We've all been through it, and either we've been through it or we're going through it. And yeah, and that's why I felt I just felt this is so not humility. This is just self-absorbed low esteem. You defined it finally. Sorry? Did it
leave you feel every time, whenever someone didn't ask you?
Yeah.
You felt shit.
Yeah, completely.
Right. And that's a great tip. If it leaves you feeling shit, it's not real humility.
Exactly. Completely. And so then I started kind of doing, whatever the journey was between then and now, trying different things, kirtan in different studios. Sometimes those studios even had 5 people in them. And my wife would ask me, how do you think it went? And I'd be like, I loved it. Because you know what it was? I finally had some way to just fill the void of that potential. That it didn't matter to me that, there were 5 people, there were 150 people, or 500 people. And we had this recent festival in Belgium, Radhika Mellows. And for years and years, I was kind of like really scared of ever being asked to sing at that festival, because it's like the biggest Kirtan festival in the world.
In the West. Man.
Yeah. And so I realized that God, Krishna, didn't give me an opportunity to sing there for so many years, because I was so flipping self-absorbed in thinking, what will people think if I actually do it? This year, they gave me, Manu was really kind of gave me a slot. And I can hand on heart say, and I really hope that it doesn't diminish it by sharing it in public like this, but I didn't feel self-absorbed and nervous. I was feeling like even my wife told me, she said, you didn't look nervous. And I was like, I didn't feel nervous. I felt like I was just doing some service. Like I felt in the right place. I didn't feel self-absorbed and too mental about it. And so then
an amazing topic to...
Yeah. And it's not that I'm like always, as you mentioned that word, how do you say it again?
Anavah.
Anavah. I'm not always in that potential space, but I think it's something that as you get older or you spend more time discovering it, you can be. I mean, I don't know, have you had any experiences that you can relate to this?
Oh my God, everything you said, probably exactly with the mellows as well.
Yeah.
But Kirtan's a spectacular subject.
Here we go, drum roll.
Subject to talk about this on, and it's like, because it's something that's, it's like a performance. There's a performance element to it as well.
Right.
So it's like a minefield for all this whole thing. It's a minefield because it's a spiritual activity with a performance aspect. Yo, what's going on here, man? What's going on?
If you do the kirtan, you get slammed for it. If you don't do the kirtan, you get slammed for it. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It's so important. It's so important. And this again, bro, for years and years and years, I've been in the wrong headspace. And not that I'm in the right headspace. It's a constant work. And I think with these circles, sometimes we're the guy outside of the circle. Sometimes we're the guy in the circle. It is what it is. It's a constant practice. But the key is back to those 3 Ps. I loved that. And just keep working on it and keep working on it. But again, being aware, for me, my biggest struggle is constantly being aware that I don't have to be afraid of my own potential. And I have to switch my mindset from being self-absorbed and being afraid of my own potential to trying to come from a place of service where you're not thinking about yourself anymore and you're liberating your own fear and allowing your service to manifest. And so you are being the best version of yourself, but you're not doing it for yourself. I mean,
totally.
It's a constant piece of work, and I'd like to quote something on that point, if you don't mind. Which,
please.
You probably heard it, and if there's anyone listening who's spoken to me at all about this subject, they've heard me say it many times because I absolutely love it. I think it makes me cry. It's a quote from a movie called Coach Carter. You know where I'm going with this?
The fear one.
Yeah, we've spoken about this before. We've spoken about this.
Yeah, we probably have.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. You know, when I was a kid, I used to play football and I would hold back because at that time, I'm not the biggest guy anymore, but at that time I was the biggest kid. I shot up. I was like a head and shoulders above all my friends. I would never play to my full strength because I was scared of either overpowering someone or being better than them. It was low self-esteem. Ultimately, that's where it was stemming from. So I would never play to the best of my ability. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. But now I want to tie this into the Gita because there's a key here for me. There's a key.
Let me know what the verse is so I can look it up on my laptop. I mean, on my computer as well.
I know. I actually don't know the verse.
Okay. Even if you quote it, maybe I'll be able to find it.
You will be able to find it. So it's a verse where it'll be somewhere early. It'll be in So Arjuna. So give a little context for the Gita. The Gita is it's the essence of the Vedic scriptures. So the Vedas are the vast Eastern philosophy of life, and ultimately how to perfect your life, but they're vast. And they've been summarized here in the Gita, in the Bhagavad-Gita. So it's a summary and the essence of, and the ABCs, like, yo, you want to figure out how to perfect your life? A, B, C. That's the Bhagavad-Gita. Here you go. So in there, Arjuna, it's a conversation between Krishna, who's God, and Arjuna, his devotee. And he's saying, I don't want to fight. So the circumstances, Arjuna is now in a situation where his cousins have been trying to kill him and his family, and they've usurped his kingdom. He's a king. He's an emperor, ruler, and his cousins have constantly harassed and attacked and tried to kill them, and they've usurped their kingdom through unrighteous and foul means. And now they're in a situation where there's a battle. The Pandavas are trying to win back their kingdom from the Kauravas. And Arjuna's looking over and he's saying, he sees their family members there, and he's saying, I don't want to fight. I don't want to do that. I don't want to kill my family members.
Chapter 2.
Yeah, you got it?
Yeah, I mean, is it the point where he's kind of saying, please instruct me? Or are you talking about the point in which he's saying, I don't know what the hell to do?
No, but I'm giving some context. The one I'm talking about, Krishna says, Arjuna, fight. You must fight, but fight without attachment to the results. Someone watching probably knows it off the top of their head.
Yeah, we're not so
We got some proper, actually humble people probably listening to this. Look, we're the two, the two big ego guys. We're talking about humility. All the humble people you guys are the ones watching. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But that's the verse. Maybe if my mum is still watching, she's a Shastra woman.
Yeah.
You got it?
And that's, no, I haven't found it, but it's shocking that to people that first hear about the Bhagavad Gita, and then you tell them kind of the context that it's on a battlefield, and they're like, philosophy on a battlefield. Okay, I thought you guys were like non-violent. And then you get to a point where you're speaking about how Arjuna puts his bow down. He's like, I don't want to fight because my family are on the other side.
238. Saying he thinks.
238. Casey Palmer. I'll have a look. But it's interesting because you get to a point where in the Gita, Krishna, who is described as being God, divinity in this form, he's speaking to Arjuna, telling him, you've got to fight. Like, this is your duty. Now, for someone that doesn't understand the context of living to your potential or following your dharma, following your duty, you start thinking, this book is tripping. Like, God is telling us to fight. Like, this is going to be some sort of like religious warfare or something. But that's kind of an immature perspective. We have to see it for, this is God telling us that we need to fulfill our duty. We need to live up to our potential. We need to be Anavah.
We can do another one on the what do you call it? Controversy of the battle of the Gita.
Oh, it just came up. The timer just came up. 1:57 remaining. So let's do this. I'm going to jump off and save this, and then let's get back on it. Because I mean, unless you're tired,
it shouldn't take too long. But I'd love to finish this with you, bro.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so guys, please stay on Instagram if you want to hear the rest of this conversation. I will save it. I will put it up on YouTube for watching later. But please don't go anywhere. If you are going anywhere, then just a few announcements. Of course, tomorrow Japa at 1 p.m. With myself, and then in the evening we're going to have, tomorrow is Tuesday, we're going to do some sacred reading, meditation, and kirtan in the evening, or there'll be a conversation. I haven't decided yet. So 1 p.m. kirtan, 1 p.m. Japa, and then in the evening to be announced. But this conversation will continue in literally 30 seconds, so don't go anywhere. Madhva is going to be back with us, and we're going to continue this topic on fake humility, self-esteem, living up to your potential. Madhva, any words before I change over?
See you now, bro.
See you in 2 seconds. So I was just telling the guys, this is the first time I've ever done 2 parts in the same night, because...
Thank you for anyone who's back with us again. Wow.
For sure. Thank you.
An hour of your life.
It's crazy. If you guys need to go, please don't feel obliged. But I think that this is real stuff here. We're not talking ideals. We're not talking about something that's too lofty. I think it's totally relatable. The point of humility is something that in every, like you were speaking earlier, in every spiritual tradition is a theme. learning how to be humble. And so to kind of succeed, I don't know if succeed is the right word, to come to a point where we imbibe that quality of humility is kind of a must. We have to pursue that. We have to actively go towards that. And I think conversations like this, where it's real, where there's two friends, where we can just be open with one another, this is where the magic happens. So sorry, you were saying, let's continue.
Yeah, that like ultimate humility, Krishna, he tells Arjuna, fight, like live up to your potential. Don't hold back, you know? But, and this is why it comes back to my point, humility is not our external activities, it's our internal activities. Fight without attachment to the results. You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it, why? To please me.
Right.
That's the key. Like that's what humility is. So we do everything in service as an offering to please God. Right? So that's what humility is, and that translates to also serving others. You know, we're here to serve.
Yeah.
We're here to serve. So that's kind of like the epitome of humility, in my opinion. It's not you have to be meek and weak. Maybe that is your nature. Maybe your nature is to be meek, to be shy, to be quiet, to be less, interactive, less sociable.
Yeah.
Maybe that's your nature, and that's
to be an introvert.
And we see that sometimes, that there are introverts who are also genuinely humble. Like I'm thinking of one of our friends right now. And I'll just say his name, Gaur Krishna. That guy's a lord.
Yeah.
And he's just, it's attractive. It's attractive, and it's like, that's because it's real, because it's genuine, because he's actually humble. He's not just being quiet and shy because he's got low self-esteem and he's like, and he's secretly judging everyone else in his mind. He's like, well,
anyone that spent time with this person, and like, not just spend time with them in a kirtan, but I mean spend time with them personally, knows he's actually jokes guy. He's totally down to earth, but he has this quality of just not being lowly self-esteemed. He's an introvert, but he has this quality of, I don't know how to say it. He's someone that's God conscious for sure. Like he's right.
He's kind.
He's kind. He's
encouraging.
Yeah.
He's not seeking all attention. Like I had another really nice definition of what humility is that I also thought was really wonderful. I heard it in a lecture.
Please share it.
One should not being anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others.
Yes.
Not being anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others.
Where did you find that?
Well, I typed it on YouTube, and
what?
No, I can tell you, it was a lecture. It was a lecture by what is humility? By Braj Bihari Prabhu.
Braj Bihari, and it's on YouTube. And what's the title of that lecture? If anyone wants to watch it on YouTube.
The title of that lecture is "What is Humility?"
Okay.
And but then like if you look at the little text below the main title, it says "What is Humility?" by Braj Bihari Prabhu.
Fantastic. And can you just repeat that quote so I can write it down?
Not being anxious.
Not being anxious.
To have the satisfaction.
To have the satisfaction. Yep.
Of being honored by others.
Honored.
And that's our good friend Gaur Krishna. We don't see that quality really, and it's not just him. There are many devotees who we have that we're so generally those who are in chasing spiritual some kind of spiritual life. We're very fortunate to have people like that in our lives. People who are actually humble. It's the nature of when someone is genuinely practicing spirituality, it's a natural side effect. Becoming humble. It's a practice, though. When someone is genuinely practicing spirituality, you will eventually, in someone,
quality.
Yeah, it's humility is a natural side effect, and so yeah, it's an attractive quality when someone is always kind, when someone is always encouraging, when someone looks at you and sees your like success and is not envious and is not thinking, I wish I had that success.
Yes,
they're thinking, look at Radhika. He just look at that video he posted on Instagram. It just got, 500 likes. That's my boy. That's a quality that is rare.
Yeah.
It's a rare quality that.
Yeah. My wife just put in the comment section, I recently read in a book by Bhakti Swami, a practical way to calculate our personal level of humility is to notice the extent to which we maintain the mindset of friends and enemies. Yeah, that you see someone as being an enemy because, they're not... Sorry?
I said, that was a quote from Bhakti Swami.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
that guy.
That guy. But it's true, to have the mindset of this person's my friend, this person's my enemy. What does that really mean? Is that person... Why do you consider that person an enemy? Why do you consider that person a friend? Ultimately, we are all like brothers and sisters. But to consider that someone is, and noticing, see how it says, humility is to notice the extent to which we maintain the mindset of friends and enemies. That person is my well-wisher. That person is not my well-wisher. That person I hate. That person I love. For, one situation or one word that person said, or one sentence or one message. This person is now categorized as my enemy. Thank you for sharing that, dear wife.
Thank you, Divey, legend. So yeah,
I'm just thinking, is there any hope? Will I ever get to a point where I get to that point of not wanting the satisfaction of being honored by others? And not to say that it hasn't decreased.
The name, if you want to Vraj Bihari or Vraja, I think there's an A at the end of it.
Yeah. Will I ever get to a point where it's not that it hasn't decreased, in this lifetime, I feel like I've made some progress towards that, not wanting, the satisfaction of being honored by others. But in totality, will it ever happen? And can we have any sort of faith going forward that, it will completely vanish in this lifetime? Or do you think that shouldn't be our aspiration? Is that the goal, basically?
I was just thinking,
Is that the goal, basically, that we want to be completely free from that? Do you think it'll ever happen in totality in this lifetime?
For sure it can. I believe it. Because that's what we're told.
Yeah.
And I trust the person who told it to us.
Wow.
If I look at myself, I think, nah, bro. Nah. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I trust the person that told me it is possible more than I trust myself saying it's not possible.
Wow.
Oh yeah, definitely possible.
Yeah. Well,
but we have to be trying. Got to be in it to win it, bro.
In it to win it. Prayers and blessings.
I was just thinking as well that, how we said as well that life will humble you.
Yeah.
I just had a thought or a feeling that maybe that can happen both ways. It can happen negatively. It can also happen positively. Sometimes we have such wonderful experiences that happen that humble us. Where perhaps we did something right and we received something wonderful. And it's just it's a humbling experience. So the reason I'm saying that is because I think, you were saying how we were talking about this idea of judging and being envious of other people. And, criticizing, judging. So something we can practice, something that's something that we can look at ourselves and we can almost quantify and practice is practice appreciating other people.
Yeah.
Practice appreciating other people. Appreciating other people's success. And the more we do that, it's, the more you show love to people, the more you will receive love.
Yeah.
And in receiving that love, it can humble you.
Yeah.
When you start to feel so much love from people, why are all these people showing me so much love? It can also be humbling.
So true.
And there's the two sides to it. You can be like, boom, life can hit you, and life does hit you. Don't doubt it. One point or another. And I don't want to be a pessimist, but life. And that can humble us. But on the flip side, if you can attract the being humbled from a positive perspective if we practice showing love and appreciation to everyone else.
Wow. Yeah, because it does come around, and you're right. I'm just trying to think like moments in my life. I'm trying to personalize it and think, are there moments in my life?
No, sorry, I can see you yawning, bro.
Yeah,
I'm tired too.
we'll close it in the next 5. But it's so enlivening. You know what it is? It's when it's something real, and it's something that I think both of us have aspirations for being humble one day. Then I think it's a case that, we have to get to the point where we feel satisfied that we at least made some progress today. But I'm just trying to think like moments in my life where I've received a ton of love. And yeah, I remember like there's one instance that's private for me, so I won't tell the actual circumstance. But I remember sitting back after that moment had happened and just like coming to tears and thinking it was so beautiful to receive that love. And I just didn't feel, it's not low self-esteem, but I just genuinely didn't feel worthy of that love. Not because of any other reason than I just felt like God had accepted that offering, that service. And because of that acceptance, and people had also felt that was a moment of acceptance, divine acceptance, then it felt genuine, it felt real. But it's not something I'm chasing. It's not like I need to get to the point where someone, again, appreciates me because I made a beautiful service. If it comes in that way, it comes. And if it comes by the humiliation, then it comes that way, and it's fine. Like, there's this saying, a Christian saying, that you shouldn't pray on your knees all day, and then when God comes into the workshop and hammers you, or the blacksmith comes in and hammers you, I can't remember exactly how it goes, then we shouldn't start complaining because you prayed for that. You prayed, if you sincerely prayed for God, please give me opportunities for humility, and you get them, and they're not exactly how you wanted them to be, then we shouldn't complain and say, oh, why is it that it didn't come in this way, etc.
The thing is, it's painful.
It is.
The humility, the humbling that comes through the stick.
Yeah, humiliation.
Is painful. And I feel like we have two choices in that moment.
Yeah.
And well, okay, there's a very simplified look at it. You have two choices. You can either hide from it, or you can learn from it.
Yeah.
Now, saying that, I think that's a quote from The Lion King. But my point is, it's late now. So my point so we can take that humbling and we can walk away from it and choose to become bitter and choose to give out the same hate that we feel we've received. Or the harder, that's the easier thing to do. That's the easy thing to do. That's so easy to just become cold and bitter and aggressive and become spiteful.
Totally.
And to become less humble, to become more proud, to become more, well, maybe, more low self-esteem and more judgmental. Like, that's what can happen. That's the easy option. Makes people cold, makes people harsh. It makes people, pain. It's, pain. But that's the kind of easy way out. But it doesn't lead to a good end, because that's all that bad stuff. That's what it leads to. But the harder option, when that humbling moment comes in our life, is to stop. Oh, and what's the key here? Because when that humbling moment comes, we're not looking at ourselves. We're looking at everyone else. Yo, you guys are the bad ones here. That's the easy option. And that's what leads to like all of that bad stuff. The harder option, when that humbling moment comes, say, oh, I got to look at myself right now.
Yeah.
I got to look, I got to do the work because, at least again, I feel very blessed to be going through some of this stuff. And I have, that's why I get so passionate when I'm like, your life will slap you. Because I'm like, life slapped me. And I'm grateful for it.
Wow.
Because.
And I believe you.
Yeah, it's painful as hell. It's painful as hell, but no pain, no gain. And it can help you if you, take shelter of the right places and the right people. And are willing to look at yourself and say that I'm suffering because of my own problem, not because of anyone else's problems. That's humility. And it's so difficult to look at yourself.
And I think it's definitely a case that how do we learn? Like, how do we learn to really be humble? And this is a personal question for us all. Do we learn through moments of hardship? Do we learn genuinely? Do we need to be slapped to learn? Or can we learn in the sweet moments? And this is a personal prayer of mine, but I don't mind sharing it. Is sometimes I do pray that, my dear Lord, I had to learn today through this painful experience, but please also help me to learn in the moments which are happy and joyful, so that way I don't have to learn the hard way each time. Because I'm someone that historically has always had to go through the painful method in order to learn the good lesson. And it's something that I wish was not the case. Like, I had to go through a period where my spiritual teacher was really heavy with me, like really kind of instructing me and guiding me. And it was, I really didn't want to be in that place. I didn't want to be in a place where, someone I looked up to was really trying to drill a lesson into my head. And so, this prayer came organically that, my dear Krishna, my dear Lord, please allow me to learn in the good moments as well. Please allow me to learn how to be humble from the sweet interactions as well. And it's not that I've had success with it, but it's an ongoing prayer. I'm being patient with it. I hope that I do learn from the good moments. Do you pray regularly?
Prayer is like, it's freaking real, man. Freaking real. And you don't even have to believe in it for it to be real. I do pray. I pray a lot. Maybe not as much as I should, but I do pray sometimes. And what's funny is he always answers.
Wow.
One way or another. Something like, it's very much that Christian proverb that you gave.
Yeah.
Doesn't always come in the nice way, but the answer is there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is a nice way. That's great too. Yeah, prayer. Prayer is a whole other topic.
Yeah, right.
Talk about prayer.
I mean, we should definitely do another one of these really, really soon. Oh, I think Madhva's internet has gone. Bear with us, guys. Thank you so much for staying so late. Oh my God, it's 9:21. We will end the conversation very, very shortly. But so much food for thought, so many things to think about. Hey, you're back.
Hey, yeah.
Hey. No, I was just saying, I'm grateful to you for, taking this time out to delve deeper into this topic of real humility, false humility, how to achieve it, how to transform ourselves to get to a point where we desire it even. Prayer, so many wonderful topics we talked about today, bro. And
I'll give you one last story. One last beautiful story about prayer.
Let's do it.
Last one. My mum. It's a story about my mum.
Okay.
My mum was not raised in a Bhakti yoga culture.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, she was born in a Muslim family,
Mm-hmm.
but not such a religious Muslim family. They were more materialistic, you could say, less religious. And so, anyway, that's neither here nor there. In her early 20s, she had come to a point in her life where she was agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't really believe in God, but there was something there that was still like, maybe there is. Maybe there is something, maybe there isn't. I don't know. I kind of don't think there is.
Yeah.
Very unhappy in her life. Very unhappy in her life. She had, and she was working as a manager in a McDonald's.
Wow.
Weird, huh?
I'm tripping just hearing that.
Weird. So, she was really in a bad place, and she didn't even know if she believed in God at that time. Now, but she was so desperate that naturally she made a prayer.
Mm.
And she said, in her mind, she kind of just said, God, if you are real, help me. What is the point of all of this? You know, like, just guide me. And then she took the prayer back. She says, you know what? I don't even believe in you. What am I doing? Whatever. I'm not making that prayer. She took it back. You can't do that once it's out there. So she made that prayer. If you're real, help me, guide me. Anyway, she tells this story way better than I do. But that very same day, she left work that day.
Yeah.
And almost when she walked out of McDonald's, there was a Harinam party coming right by her.
Street
Harinam
kirtan.
party. Street kirtan, yeah. If you know what kirtan, people chanting and dancing, the Bhakti yoga practitioners out in the streets, probably seen them yourselves. Anyway, so group of Bhakti yoga practitioners out in the streets chanting and dancing. And you know what they did? As my mum walked out of McDonald's, they randomly decided to single her out and dance around her. Just her in the middle. And they were all just dancing around her. And they were chanting, Hare Krishna, boom, 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 hitting the drums, the cymbals, all the laughter, all the joy, all the happiness. Just after my mum had made this prayer, she didn't even mean it. She didn't even know if God was real. She made this prayer to something that she didn't even know was out there. And someone gave her a book and they said, here. And that changed her life. When she read that book, it's like the answer was right there. It's like instantaneously. And to me, this is like one of the greatest examples of prayer. And you just have to try it to experience it. It's, you know, you talk about prayer and you're like, sounds like some kind of, you know, magic. Yeah, you believe in magic, yo. It's like, well, I mean,
fairy language.
It's something that is a practice and it's a personal thing, and you see it in your own life. You know, like you see, I talk with some passion, and it's not because I'm here trying to fake y'all.
Yeah.
There's some experience. I felt it. You know, I'm not the most. I've not felt it the most, but I felt something, and it's real to me. Like it is to you, like it is to so many people in the world, like it is to so many people.
Yeah. And it's faith affirming to hear it coming out of your mouth, like to hear you share prayers which you feel were answered. And it's, I mean, from my perspective, it sounds like they were answered clearly as well. But it's so faith affirming when we go through seeing, you know, divinity, God, Krishna come into our life and, you know, make things happen off the back of a prayer. It wasn't even the way that she wanted it to happen, perhaps, your mum, but it happened.
Yeah.
And you're
she had no idea
we wouldn't be having this conversation right now if she didn't have that prayer in her mouth or in her mind.
If she didn't make that prayer, and she hadn't, exactly. If that prayer hadn't come out of my mouth, I wouldn't be here. Exactly.
In this situation, speaking, you know, maybe in a parallel universe, you know, who knows how, but
Yeah,
Wow.
anyway, it's powerful. Powerful. That's a really relevant example for the power of prayer. And like I said, she tells it way better.
Yeah, I'm
But
going to hear it from her. Next time I see her, I'm going to ask her, how did she pray? What was the way in which her prayer was answered? I want to know the science of it. That's what I want to know.
yeah,
How did she do it?
sincerity. Somebody just said it. Sincerity is key. I didn't see who it was, but sincerity is key, man.
Yeah, sincerity is key. Well,
God
guys,
hears you.
yeah, God does hear us, and we have to come to the conclusion that whether we like it or not, God hears us. And sometimes it's in the moments where we don't want Him to hear us that He hears us. But yeah, may your prayers be answered. Madhva and I will pray for you now. We'll close our eyes and just pray that each and every person that hears this conversation, may they find the right people in which they can gain faith in humility, in the practice of humility, and the philosophy of understanding what humility is. May they go forward in understanding that the power of prayer is unlimited, and that even if they are hearing our prayer, they also pray for us in return, that we can also imbibe these qualities of humility and prayer in our lives. But we thank you so much, Madhva, from the bottom of our hearts, and especially as a friend, just genuinely from as a, bro to bro. I can do this, brother to brother. Thank you so much for taking time out. I know it's late in Spain, and Sundar is probably going to be thinking, "Where the hell are you?"
Yeah.
But genuinely, this was a phenomenal conversation, probably the best one I've had, and that's why we did 2 parts in the same night, because I was fired up, like I was ready for this conversation.
Thank you, Radhika. Thank you, everyone who was listening. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, it was genuinely amazing. So check this out. Instagram doesn't allow you to post for 24 hours anymore. It's gone. So therefore, the only way I can share this is on IGTV. That's the only option that comes up when I end this conversation. It comes up as IGTV or delete. And so obviously I'm going to put this up on IGTV. I put part 1 already up there. So make sure you check it out, and I'll make sure it's uploaded to YouTube for, those of you that want to watch it on YouTube. But all the love that's pouring through, I want to send it all towards Madhva and Sundari, who are out in Spain. And I really wish that you guys are happy, healthy, and spiritually strong. And if there's anything we can do for you guys, please let me know. Please drop me a WhatsApp message, bro, because I'd love to be able to be of service in any way, shape, or form during this time.
Love you, bro.
Thank you so much. Guys, tune in tomorrow for 1 p.m. Japa session. That's going to be really special. And then in the evening, like I mentioned, we'll probably have another conversation. And you know what, Madhva, let's do these more often, please. I don't know what your time is like, and what different engagements and thoughts you have about how you want to engage your time. But if this is inspiring for you, then we can speak about it after.
Wow.
But I'm sure people would love to hear this.
The beard crew. Is that Hari Kirtan, man?
I don't know who it is. Kirtan Yoga Christchurch.
Is that you, Hari Kirtan?
If it is, thank you so much for your encouragement. But yeah, thank you, Madhva. Thank you to everyone that's watching. Tune in tomorrow, Japa, and then evening we'll have another inspiration session of some sort. But Madhva, we'll do this again soon. All the best.
We'll do this again. I'm inspired, bro. I've loved this. I've loved every moment. So I appreciate you saying that we should do this more often. I do, and I would love to.
Beautiful. And it's Ananda Mohini in Kirtan Yoga Christchurch.
It's Ananda Mohini. Oh, okay. Ananda Mohini, okay. Yeah, we're the big crew.
Thank you so much. All right, see you guys soon.
Yeah.
And have a good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Or if you're having the start of your day, have a beautiful day filled with opportunities for prayer and humility. All the best. Take care, Madhva.
Much love.
Hari
Take
Bol.
care. Hari Hari.